Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight. This is excellent to have everybody with us.
I don't smell or bite, so
Yes, come closer. Well, also we want to make sure we are, in case anybody has any issues, we are filming this.
And I'm the only one on camera.
So step forward. And the only reason that we're filming it is because we do have Master Drake here who is doing a breathing technical seminar for us. And we want to be able to replay it. And there are some people that couldn't make it, like Stacy, who's in Maine, so she'll be trying to watch. You don't have to go all the way down.
Alright. Other way. Hana. Two. Set. Net. Set. Y'all set. Heels up. Pedal. Aho. No, that always feels in on my arch. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Set. Y'all set. Heels up. Yado. Aho. You look like an Amish person. Do that. Switch directions. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. We should like Sven.
A little bit. We try to work it into Tai Chi Walking, where we're a water
You're
trying to bring in.
Alright,
Breathe in, and then a breathe out.
we have so many people today, so we're going to watch out.
So you are aware of
You know what we're going to do? We're going to put our right hand on the wall, left hand on the wall. That's right. Left hand on the wall, this over to everybody in.
all over like crazy.
Alright? Put down.
Let me get everywhere. Just be careful not to.
Disclaimer, if you put our left hand on the wall, we're going to do it this way. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Y'all set. Heel go. Your dogs. Hook. Yo, turn around and face first and behind you. Left leg. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Heel go. Yado.
This one here.
Hook. Now face the wall.
Inside the frame. Remember we talked about that because
Hana.
stays right inside the frame. Yeah. That one doesn't need to go all the way down. Just right inside both legs. Just right inside. Just getting the blood flowing. It's flowing. Going. It's it. Stuff in my head. Oh, we're getting angry. Love it. Small
Hana.
motions. It's just a hang in the socket.
Set.
Don't force it. Just let it go.
Net.
And then the other side, just let it hang
That's
right there.
Yes, it.
Swinging.
Heel
We're
go.
not using our muscles. We're just
Go. Hook. Yo. Now,
She's mine.
push ups.
I'm claiming you.
Scoot down a notch if it seems too easy.
Leah's awesome.
I know.
You belong to Miss Nikki Parky. See, I know your mom. And I know Dad too. Is that something that you would like us to do?
When you're done with those, crunch just like your legs.
Master Jean? No. We're going going to turn the mouth open.
Out.
Master Drake, Drake actually in the outside world, but just to give you a few, show the big background. When I'm not here, one of the things I actually do is I travel around the country and I teach meditation practices that are actually geared towards trauma. And movement practices are part of that. And I also do, I lead a lot of Buddhist meditations, particularly my specialty is heart-centered practices. So just so you have some sense of where I come from, and then yoga teacher training. Background of where I'm coming from, and and if you have experience sort of with meditation, yoga, those movement practices outside of here, I would love to know that. And just kind of briefly, if there's anything you're struggling with about breathing or don't forget, we'd also know that. So, but after that, we're gonna go through a couple different types of breathing relatively quickly, because there's not just one way to breathe. There's breaths are through a seated strengthening practice that combines isometrics with actual breathing techniques. So, does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Awesome. I'll abbreviate it and then I'll give you a list so that at home you can do a full practice. So.
Sure, I can start. Hi everybody, Master Snow. I'm Monica. So when it comes to breathing, we've done a few different techniques in our class with Gentle Toe. We've done a lot of deep breathing. We try to fill our bellies real full and then exhale to actually get all of the air out. And we've we've also tried to practice some of that very sharp inhale and long exhale. And I get very dizzy trying to hold my breath on the long inhales, the long exhales, and on the long exhale. About halfway through, I do get dizzy. So that's something I struggle with personally for me.
I'm Edith, and I'm just happy to be breathing.
Fatima.
I am Fatima. Snow said, I also struggle with deep breathing. When I do that, I get a headache, very brief headache, and it kind of vanishes after a bit. I do get dizzy, a little lightheaded. I tend to go slightly off balance when I do a lot of deep inhales and exhales. I have practiced yoga in the past. I wouldn't call it proficient, but I'm familiar with the Surya Namaskars and especially Kapalbhati, the one Anulom Vilom.
Yeah.
That is something that I'm comfortable with. I used to do very regularly, but
Okay.
lost practice. Thank you.
I'm Linda. I also struggle with the breathing. What I struggle with is inhaling. I don't feel that I can inhale deeply. I feel like I can exhale deeply and for an extended period to get enough air in me. So that's an area that I struggle with.
I am Master Cardio. I'm fairly new. I'm almost to the 3-month marker in class in here. ADHD and hopes to calm down. I've also found that I kind of like come from Tehama Go, trying to just be slow and to really focus on my breathing. But I get a little bit better each time. Something that I struggle with.
My name is Michelle Joseph Evans, depending where we are.
Let's check it, Sonia.
I actually almost just said hanging out myself. For breathing, I have pretty frequent panic attacks, and that's how I usually know what's happening is I'm not breathing, and I said, help, look at that. So I forget to breathe.
I'm Denise. I'm going to run off of what Linda said, the same thing. I feel like exhaling isn't a problem, but the deep breathing, I can do short, little breaths, but I can't take deep breaths.
Hi, I'm Master Jean.
Hi, Master Jean.
For Out of Here, Tiffany. We're still talking about that. Yeah, just feeding off of these two. I have more trouble breathing in than breathing out. Breathing out way longer than breathing in. But just, yeah.
Hi, I'm Erin, and I have found a lot of similarities in my vocal training. I was a classically trained vocalist way long time ago, but I find the breathing in singing is very similar to the breathing in this. I'm really working on my breath work to help with my anxiety and my panic disorder. And take a breath before I react. But I can always use more tips.
I'm Stephanie. I did take yoga for about a year and a half. Definitely not anywhere near proficient, but I did really enjoy it because it was very slow movement, very deliberate movement, and the breathing kind of corresponded with that. Not high anxiety, also super significant sleep apnea. So I have some major breathing issues that I'm not even aware of and haven't been aware of for probably 15 years. It was just diagnosed. But now I can finally sleep. So now I'd like to be able to breathe better, to kind of center myself during the day.
We're gonna forget you, trust me.
I'm most privileged
not whatever gets said here. And I'll keep telling him it's good for him to be here when he complains.
He said it's too hard.
My name is Suzanne. I've come here for about a year and a half. I've done other things, exercise-wise, nothing harder than in the gym, but I go to like therapy. There was a company where I was like, hold my breath when I'm doing anything of exercise. Okay, breathe. I don't do that. I tend to hold it in. So let it out for each thing I have to do. And then what they said too, I struggle with the, I do have to breathe, breathing deep. I struggle with that too. I tend to hold my breath a lot when I'm doing something, some other kind of things. I don't know how to breathe, I guess.
Well, none of you are alone. The majority of the population, particularly folks who have been raised in sort of a Western culture that is heavily intellectual, think that breathe, and most people use about a third of their lung capacity, and you'll see them breathe because they go from here and their shoulders come up, but it's not here, right? So none of you are alone. And the other thing is that from a nervous system perspective, our nervous system has like sort of, this is the baseline of sort of like things are okay, but there might be some problem, and when we pressed over here, right, there's danger. And then things are okay, problem, and then there's danger, which is sort of a freeze response, right? But our nervous system is meant to do this throughout the day, just kind of like, oh, no, we're fine, right? But a lot of us live either up here or pretty darn close to that, or shut down, right? But the problem is that if we stay there, and if we're breathing relatively shallow, having a conversation, it's okay. So if we're not breathing deeply and easily, we are somehow communicating constantly to our nervous system to look around. And things are okay. Which means for anybody who has a history of anxiety, right, you're just at that point of overwhelm. And for anyone who has a history of depression or sort of just kind of slowing down, shutting down, you're always at that level, right? They're the exact same thing, just a different. The nervous system hates a vacuum. There's actual ease. We aren't people who are accustomed to ease in our bodies. Our nervous system experiences that as waiting for the next shoe to drop. Rather than, this is great, we're like, it's nice, but. So you get really comfortable trying to actually relax. It's a perfectly normal thing to happen, right? And so part of that is a way of having to have this conversation about, like, just this way. You have to do it regularly in small doses. I would never tell people to meditate for 45 minutes. I tell them to meditate for 30 seconds. I mean, because it's too much, right? Like, and your nervous system will just lose it. But if you do it 6 or 7 times a day for 5 breaths at a time, what I tell you to do is just work on 3 breaths at a time. And eventually your body, capacity-wise, but also comfort-wise, will get used to that. Right? So I'm sure that you breathe like you ordinarily do, and then you come in here and you spend an hour breathing deeply, and your nervous system gets a little jostled, your oxygen levels are, you're not used to dealing with it, and easy and like that. And there's all this kind of shuffling of what's comfortable. And so I'm gonna tell you that do some of this stuff regularly, it'll help. So the first thing I'll talk to you about is, and I'm sure anybody who's done some yoga classes, I'm going to talk to you about a couple different breathing techniques. But the one that, we're going to start with the diaphragmatic breathing, and which is what you've kind of been asked to do. I will say that if you struggle with being dizzy or on the inhale, see if lying down flat on your back helps you, because if you have support, believe it or not, that actually can help. Because if we have something that actually has our back really invigorating, our back can actually relax much less and have more capacity. So you're welcome to try that. You're welcome to try sitting up against the wall. But I often find laying down allows the muscles to just relax. But diaphragmatic breathing is simply that sort of inhale, but it's a very gentle. It's not a like forcing air in, right? But it's that inhale and the belly just kind of comes out. And the exhale, you're just thinking about the muscles just kind of wrapping in. It actually in the belly, so inhale. And on the exhale, just actually wrap the muscles around, draw them up to the extent that you can. And don't go to like full capacity, but just go more than you normally do. Again, like incremental, breathe maybe 50% more than you normally do, and then 55%, but don't go to the full max. It doesn't feel it. It's counterproductive. So it's nice and easy. Mostly what you're trying to do is avoid that sort of chest breathing. It has an ease to it. And that's the start, is to kind of have a soft center. It's easier to have a soft center and a soft heart space, again, if something has your back, so you're welcome to try. So there's that. So the next thing that just breath and awareness of that we're breathing. Right? So the ability to be present with ourselves actually requires us to kind of actually be able to track the extent to which we're breathing. It has a way of anchoring us, and it keeps yoga breathing practice. It's you breathe through your nose. The easiest way to do it is if you hold your hand out, like you're going to fog a mirror, and then right? Really long, and long exhale. Start that, and about halfway through, close your mouth. Yeah. So as you're trying to fog a mirror, close your mouth. You're gonna breathe through your nose, and you're gonna feel it. It has like a rasp to it, and you can actually, it has a sense like a vibration to it. Does that make sense? So you can feel it. So just breathe in your hand, and it has it. See if you can track it. Now when you do that, and this takes a little while to really get good at it, but try that. Try that breathing where you're like, breathe out, close your mouth, and then try the inhale and see if you can have it follow the back of your throat down to your lungs the exact same path, right? So it's just a bit. It takes a while, but see if you can notice as it comes in through your nose, it's going to come through, and often your tongue is just lightly at the top of your mouth against your teeth, which will help. It just comes in, and you feel it like the back of your throat, just very gently comes down, and on the exhale, you feel it come up. If you notice that your shoulders have done this, you're probably thinking too much and not breathing out. So relax your shoulders a little. So you can try it.
No, I don't like the feeling. I can feel it like on my tonsils.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Again, things that are uncomfortable, experience them as we don't like them, as opposed to that's unfamiliar and my nervous system.
Yeah,
but it is
something to get used to.
A lot of times, when it's actually of service, it is allowing us to be present. But oftentimes, particularly if we're going to do a martial arts practice or a movement practice, we actually need heat. So this is a practice that is grounding, but also generates some degree of heat inside. Right? So it isn't. It has a little bit of strength that comes with it, and it doesn't have a sort of letting go strength. It has a presence strength. And so it's one of the breaths that I would say when you're working with movement, try it because of the ways in which it heats your body up, and the ways in which it has an anchoring, a heavier effect. Does that make sense? I promise you, I will come back and do this again. But the diaphragm, paying attention to your belly and out, and then tracking your breath is certainly the most grounding and simplest way to kind of pay attention. It's actually the only way that I teach meditation to beginners is to have them track their breath. and then their head gets, they go onto a train about a story, and come back and pay attention to your breath. Like, don't force it, but just notice it, right? And because it's the thing that we do automatically, right? Pay attention to our thoughts. It's, you know, very trouble. So, the next, maybe this, and this one's a slightly more common, and it's like box breathing. So, have you all done box breathing? We'll find out. All right. So, it's gonna be on my count. You're gonna inhale for a count of 4. But again, what I want you to try to do is relax your shoulders and just let your body take in air as opposed to force air on. And I'm gonna count to 4 in an inhale. You're gonna hold it for 4. And then you're gonna exhale for 4, and you're gonna hold it for 4. The ritual of that actually settles the nervous system in a very calming way. So if you're used to having a kind of a jittery feeling right before an panic attack, this will help. And it actually gives you something to focus on. Right? As opposed to thoughts, right? So just
Finch has it too.
relax your
Finch
shoulders.
has?
Yep, yeah. Okay. So relax your shoulders and just sort of, on my count, sort of inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, for 1, 2, 3, 4. Just stop there. Try one more time. Inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1,
Max can go right
2.
up here. Oh, we need one more thing. Okay, we need a coin.
Just sort of gently. I'm comfortable, but I should never be asked that question. Over DNA, so I should never ask me because it's wrong.
But I'm good. So since they're natural sweaters,
So that's
Yeah,
not
let's put the
box
sweaty
breathing
over
that actually
here.
has
Yes.
a calming effect, right? It has a ritual to it.
You're getting
But there's a box breathing that
Hold on.
actually, it's a little more like a triangle.
coming out of there, yeah.
That actually has an energizing effect, right? So again, for folks who tend to either freeze or have a depressive sort of side to themselves, last thing you want to do is actually get more tranquil, right? You want to have an energy level that's slightly above where you currently are. You certainly don't want to go into a room and scream and run around, because that will like make you lose it. But you want to be slightly energizing. So this one has an inhale for 4. It has a hold for 7. I'll count a little bit faster. And then it has an exhale for 8, right? So it's literally, don't do it yet. So it's inhale for 4. Seven. Nice. Right, so it's an inhale for 4, hold for 7, and a whoosh exhale. Because you're just trying to get all the air out at once. So this has an energizing effect. This may make you a little dizzy, so just sort of kind of stay seated. So you guys ready to try that one? No, I need to move.
did you guys, I'm sorry, I
Yes.
stepped out.
Sorry.
Did you discuss how not to pass out?
I did invite people to lay down.
Okay.
That is, what I basically said is that if folks aren't,
Like getting that dizziness
If you only
hold for too long, I'm gonna, yeah.
well, like, there's a way, if you do it more often for shorter periods of time,
Okay, build up.
but most people go out there and do their normal breathing, which is not really breathing, and then they come here twice a week and they breathe really deeply, and then they go back out and do the normal thing. And so every time you're coming in here, you're getting over oxygenated compared to your normal, as opposed to doing this 5 times a day for 2 or 3 rounds of it. That's you'll increase your
Homework.
homework.
Yes.
And I say lay down, because it lets the body kind of relax.
Yes.
So let's just try 1 round of that, and then I'll let you practice that on your own at home, because most people, they do well if they're actually sitting up against the wall or kind of on their own. So you ready to try it? Okay. count a little faster. I will keep this. So ready? Inhale for 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoosh for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was the least animated whoosh I think I've seen in a long time. It felt like an exasperated sigh. I'm trying not to take it personally.
I had to whoosh like 3 times. I'm like, it's gone in 2.
Yeah. So that
It
one.
was the slower whoosh you were looking for. So I was
It's
just
just
like,
it's a 4. Yeah. Well, yeah. That takes practice too, because
Okay.
that has that pull in. Right?
Diaphragmatic control.
Okay.
As opposed to.
Yes.
Wait, you can't go slow? That's shocking.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So
Like 1, 2, 3, 4.
I know. So why don't you all just kind of stand up a little bit? And I want to sit down for practice, but you might want to come off the mats because I did that double. And if you want to bring your chair to the end, come on up that way a little bit.
So Miss Lucinda, come on out onto the mat. Come onto the mat.
You want to take
There
a
you
step.
go.
There you go.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. And so try to track your breath in the in the way that I showed you at first. Just try to notice it coming in through your nose and out through your nose. Okay, just see if you can notice it. But the other thing that around moving meditation, which is kind of more what Tai Chi is about a focal point. And the focal point is usually finding something about eye height, actually, and finding it. And not allowing your gaze to wiggle. I tell the kids that if your eyes are wiggly, your thoughts are wiggly, your body's wiggly, there's no way to do any of those separately, right? So all I'm gonna ask you to do, for those of you who have a really hard time balancing, then I'm gonna tell you to literally just, your chair's there if you need it, right? But I'm gonna ask you to sort of just hold your toe up, right? Yeah.
One.
Not both, if you can hold both feet up, I'm gonna
No,
really
no,
be impressed.
toes.
I just meant like, yeah, just dangle it there, so you have to touch it, right? Right, yeah. And then for those of you who either want a challenge or their balance are pretty good, you can try any version of sort of being able to hold it there, right? But what I want you to do is find some place that is not looking at me, because I'm gonna move, but find some place that's solid. So if you want to turn your chair around and look at the curtain.
Don't stare at me.
Find the wall, whatever makes sense for you. But you want something at eye height. And what I want you to do
Did I
is
mention I
find
have
it.
panic disorder?
And your gaze is focused, but it's not tight. Does that make sense? It doesn't have a force to it. It's just a gentle sort of just focus. So just, which I know is challenging. And just find it, right? So just inhale. Exhale. Let your ankle move, because that's actually what strengthens your ankle. People try to force it, and they don't. So inhale. Exhale. And then just look down. Can't talk and do that same time. So if you're having trouble with the sort of movement, right, chances are you're either looking at the floor, right, which then moves as you move, right, as opposed to finding some place dead center, right, and being able to, right, very easy. So find that sort of eye height and gently gaze at it, which will actually help you. If you're like being, if you're like grilling it into the ground, your breath is going to get tight, right? Notice your tight, your body's tight. So that ability, right? And so if you want to try it, just find a chair. All I want you to do is, to the degree that you feel, I want you to pay attention to how you move now. So on the inhale, it should have this movement that actually feels a little more like dance than actually kicking something. So that explain it. So it has this sort of movement, it has this flow to it, right? As you come up. Out. And then you can actually drag it along. So if you have a circle. So your hips. chances are if I see you and I see your little jaw poking out, chances are you're holding your breath and you're tense. So just let it go. Inhale. Nice and gentle.
Denise, he's talking to you.
I was talking to her, but
Okay, me too.
I can.
The growl
I know
gave
her well.
away.
Okay, great. So I'm going to teach. We're going to go through a basic. It's actually a qigong series that has the element of breath and just light movement. And then we're going to have a seat. I'm going to show you an abbreviated seated strengthening practice that also uses the same movement. So same breath. Does that make sense? Awesome. All right.
Not a clue, because none of us know what that means.
Qigong is actually the Qigong and Tai Chi are very similar, and the Qigong is often thought of as a sort of overarching kind of hold, and Tai Chi is sort of a type of movement practice. But Qigong is more movement theory, so they're very related.
Okay.
So Taekwondo, karate.
Yes, they all reach the same peak of the mountain.
Right, and so it's helpful to kind of have some of the why, but the practice, right? Otherwise, it's sort of a disembodied practice.
Okay.
Right. So the only thing, again, same thing, just strength ultimately comes from here, right? A lot of people are tight and they think that that's actual strength, and it's not. It's that it's the strength that has is actually where it comes from. It's true. Something is just find your wrists, right? And when you just want you to draw shoulders. See if you can actually draw up. That's more invitational than grabbing. Right in, and right up your center. And exhale out to your sides. Again, reach. Inhale all the way up. And so go at your pace. This is just not. Extent that more
At the point in the curtain and it's hard to dance. We do that like
Versus circular.
yeah.
So, and the movement, if the movement has this, your shoulders have to go down. If the movement has this, your shoulders have to go down. I would invite you to try. Inhale and exhale through your nose. Yep.
Not your mouth.
No.
Nose breathers.
Yeah. Some disdain. Nose breathers. Yeah, to the extent that you can and try, right? So because I want you to track it up and down. And sometimes it helps to like have a gentle smile. Serotonin wise, actually brain chemistry wise, and but that sort of tightness in the brow actually just again makes our body ability to sort of be flexible. All right, now there's a series, and so basically I'm going to give you kind of a truncated version of this, but I'd like you to just try it at home, and try it with five cycles of each of these movements, and then try it to 10. But the first one is simply going to be up. Now I want you to actually just push out to the sides. Up. To the sides. Up. is this you trying to move a wall away from you? And basically what this practice actually is doing is I'm creating space around me. I'm trying to widen my kind of protective environment. It's actually an inner strength practice. So now I'm going to come up. I'm going to go out front. But again, it's not tight, right? Exhale. More your intention than strength, right? Physical strength, right? And then gather up. And exhale.
That's a lot different than what we have been practicing for this one. Fingers.
Should be, yeah, it's a different,
The like the golf balls between our fingers and trying to create a lot of tension.
people are more comfortable with that because they're used to it.
Yes.
So now the next one, it's a little harder. Inhale, gather up. You might want to for a second. And my left comes over my right. And on my exhale, they switch. So I'm pushing up and down. Okay. Inhale. Right over left. Left over right. And let your wrist so those three, the side, the front, the top, the bottom. And those circles as opposed to Shumshiki, right? That is Shumshiki is actually meant to be an absolute activator, right? It's someone punched me and I got it, right? And one of the things that Shumshiki actually does, right, is that part of what confidence comes from is actually being like, I have everything I need to make a moment, right? So what Shumshiki does is that sort of someone punched and I have to deal with it, and then the next thing that happens is my breath is not a quick exhale. It's okay, and I do it, right? So that's why Shumshiki is really meant to it's good for before class. It's not good as a grounding exercise because it has a level of sort of intensity to it. So again, if you're somebody who has a tendency to get really lethargic, perfectly good. But it will actually cause some level of I wouldn't say anxiety, but it's pretty close if that's where you live. It's not actually the practice I would show you. But this one, sort of it's just resistance is like a heavy drape as opposed to a wall, right? Like at first, and then you can learn to push a wall away, but still without that grinding, right? Just excellent. And that force comes from your breath. Right? And that's what you want to sort of work with in terms of what grounds you. And the more that you kind of play with this stuff, the more that then, when you try to do the movements in here, the more that it actually becomes much easier. But I will have to come back and show that here, because I'll do these probably 6 times. But do you have any questions about that sort of movement? Does that make sense at all? Does it feel any more comfortable, not comfortable?
I feel like I'm concentrating more on where my arms are versus my breathing.
Yeah. Yes, it's kind of normal, and the thing I would say is, you can't do it wrong, and I would say return to your breath always. Again, everybody goes into their head. We're an intellectual culture, and everybody goes to their head and tries to perfect something at the expense of our own well-being and our own embodiment. And so I would say return to the breath, return to softness, and this will come with time, right? You have the general direction, out, up, but this is what's not natural at this moment in time. So that's what you return to, right? And just start again. It doesn't matter, right? Because I lost track of my breath. I'm gonna start with an inhale, and that's what you want to do. So why don't you have a seat? I'm gonna show you the strengthening practice. Because again, right, breath isn't simply people think that breathing is easy. can, I don't think that Master Snow is coming back anytime, so you just have to sit here and be kind of lipping each other. You can, you know. Again, that inhale and the exhale, I'm going to ask you to do the thing. And then the inhale, you're going to reset, and the exhale, you're going to do the thing, whatever that thing is that I actually do. So at home, I would tell you to have a relatively straight back chair, but it doesn't, this is okay for a lot of folks. Their lower back's going to hurt. But what I want you to do is on the inhale, I'm going to have you inhale. On the exhale, I want you to lift your toes up, and I want the ball of your foot to meet the ground. Don't jam it in like you're trying to like go 2 feet below the floor, but make contact, but it's contact towards the front. Okay, so it's inhale, relax your toes a little bit. Back to your shins, for a long exhale. And the next inhale, just let go a little bit, not all the way, right? And then exhale, pull them up. The more that you can try to peel them back, it actually raises the arch of your foot. It actually strengthens the arch of your foot, and it strengthens these muscles here. Good. One more time. Just inhale, a quarter inch. And exhale, raise them up. The next one is the opposite direction. So on the inhale, just inhale, and it's just an easy inhale. And exhale, heels come up, and they come up as high as you can get them. Exhale. Inhale up a little bit. Exhale, raise. Next one is push your hands. The front ankle, for whatever reason, left starts before right, maybe both these practices. The front ankle is pushing backwards, the back ankle is pushing forward. They're actually against each other, and as tight as you can get them. Okay? So on the inhale, just sort of relax a little bit. And then you can touch the floor. And exhale, push. Don't lock your jaw, don't lock your shoulders. Sorry, I was talking dirty. I feel seeing. Okay, and then inhale, let up a little bit. And exhale. Michelle, put your toes on the ground. You did this. There you go. Exhale. So again, the breath is more important than the thing, but it's combining an embodiment of breath, but in a way that actually is the strengthens. When you're pushing in, hamstrings pushing out, quad. Then you switch feet. And you reverse it on the other side. And exhale, push. Can you have that off here? Exhale, push. Next one, hands are on the outside, right? Just sort of on a little bit inside the knee. If you have sore knees, you might want to come back a little bit. And what you want to do is on the inhale, exhale, my hands are pushing in, my legs are trying to separate, right? So inhale, exhale. Inhale, let out a little bit. Exhale, push. Exhale. I'm going to go through them quickly because I want you to try them. Inhale, thumbs down, inside. You're going to guess it's the opposite. So inhale, try to bring your neck, knees together. Push your neck. This is sort of internal rotation, but it's also triceps and delts. And then the next one is simply for folks, grab the hands are here. Just try one side with you. Inhale, exhale. you're gonna try to pull and push. Right? So my shoulder's trying to go that way, and I'm pulling in my arms. And there's tight, I'm pushing, there's tightness there, right? And just relax your shoulders. If you can get your hands closer together, you might find that it keeps you out of your rotator cuff, right? Yeah. Hands in front, relax your shoulders. Palms together. So inhale, exhale. Palms together, like the pads together. Fingers not so much, right? And push on the exhale. Inhale. Touch your shoulders. Smiling doesn't hurt any. Gentle. The next one, just it's here and here. The motions are always going to be opposite each other, right? So here, wrap around. So inhale. Yep, and then try to pull it apart. Watch your shoulders. Yeah, exhale is the effort. Inhale, you kind of come off by a quarter inch, right? And then exhale. Soften your jaw. And then keep. Kind of up and down, basically. So kind of here, as opposed to this, right? Here, one's coming up, one's coming down. You're going to notice this bicep, pecs, right, and tricep, and then the next side you're going to do this way, left and right. Okay? I'm going to get you out of here in time. And then you have the last one is sort of right hand is sort of here, left hand here. Okay? And again, soften your shoulders. So I would put it sort of just below shoulder height. If you feel it here, drop it down. And this is going to push forward without losing that 90 degrees. So inhale, push. Same on the other side. So inhale. And you want to keep, the most important thing is that the arm that's bent this way needs to stay within your shoulder box. You want to be out. That's where your shoulder. So for folks who are having trouble with inhale and exhale, practice like this, and it takes about, if you do it, you want to try 3 to 5 times for each different exercise to work up to 10, again, 10 on each side. But for folks who are struggling with sort of inhales, often having a ritualized practice that you don't have to do that. Once you've done it 5 or 6 times, you're gonna know, right? I know what this is, right after this. But your body kind of knows what to do, so your body's gonna do the thing, and then you can actually really pay attention to your breath, and then they start to come together. But it will be a practice that you're just ritualistically kind of breathing in a way that helps. Because if you just come in here twice a week, and then you're doing this 45 minutes, 50 minutes of breathing, you know, the system gets overwhelmed. You actually can't kind of get used to it. Does that make sense? So, I appreciate your attention, and so, I know I threw some breathing practice. I will show how body, but I thought people would really pass out. So, yeah. It's called fire breathing, and it literally is sort of a gentle inhale, and it
I took
abs
one
come in,
class and it's
boom,
it's hard.
Yeah, I had to like do it up against the wall for the first 2 times I practiced it.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah, it is hard. But thank you. I'm happy to watch the tape again. Tape this, how old I am. The video again, and then I can make sure that some of this that too, but we can make sure that you have that. That's all.
Thank you.
So much. I appreciate your attention, and sort of anybody that works with me knows you get a lot of detail and a lot slower movement than sort of oftentimes folks get taught. So it takes a while to get all the little minutiae. So I appreciate that you hung in there.
Thank you.
It's actually a nervous system settling, right? Because So if we can make our breathing regular and easy, even if we feel under threat, like it's not actually a threat, right, but we're experiencing it, if we can actually fake it and make our nervous system think we're okay, then our nervous system actually believes the story. But if we breathe in a jagged way, our nervous system believes that story, which is, oh God, right? Something's bad. And so you're actually just having a conversation with your nervous system that is constantly in that gentle. And the more that you do that, the more that your body actually considers that to be the norm, and alertness and hypervigilance to be the thing that you only do when you need it. Most of us, particularly those of us who experience violence in the world, or the threat of violence, live in the, oh God, bad things are going to happen at any moment. And then we carry that kind of in everyday place. It's basically ritualizing, I'm okay. That's what I can describe it. Awesome. We have a space for
Yes. Face flexion, PN, PDA, face off, PDA. All right, good. Good enough. That was awesome.
Hop in there.
We got the chairs.
Just the middle one comes out.
Yeah, the two thrones stay.
The 2 thrones stay.
And then we teach kids in here, and the kids are always sitting on it. Like, really.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It was a
Very
pleasure.
informative, yes. I can't wait till the next session.
Happy to come back.
Across the wall.
No.
I got you. I'm being hit. And it's on camera.
Where did these little gems go?
I believe those ones go in Samson and
I shall leave.
Oh, Lucinda, don't say that. Huh? Don't say that. That was a good class.
You know, my neck is even killing just to turn to look at him the whole time.
Oh.
I'm in bad shape.
No, you're in good shape. You're in good shape. You are in good shape.
When you get to 96, you tell me how
My
it is.
dad's 96. He'll be 97 in October.
Who, your father?
Yeah.
How's he doing? Fine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on oxygen, but other than that, he's fine.
Oxygen?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep. But other than that, he's fine. Yeah.
It will be in December.
In December. Okay. That's right. Have a good night.
You too, and thank you so much for your nice attitude. Oh, God.